Pannadu Srinivas, contract lecturer in economics, Government Degree College, Koratla, District Jaityar, Telangana. Today topic is Indian economy at the time of independence or Indian economy on the eve of independence. Objectives to become familiar with the state of the Indian economy in 1947, the year of independence. Understand the factors that led to the underdevelopment and stagnation of the Indian economy. Topics to be covered: level of economic development under the colonial rule, agriculture sector, industrial sector, foreign trade, demographic condition, occupational structure, infrastructure. Introduction. The basic purpose of British colonial rule over India was to complement and serve the industrialization process in Britain. Thus, the sole aim of colonial government was to reduce India to mere supply of the raw materials as a consumer of finished goods that is supplied from British industries. Colonialism. Colonialism is the policy of nation seeking to extend or retain its authority over other people or territory. The ruling country not only has political control, but it also determines the economic policies of the dominated country. The colonizing country seeks to benefit from the colonized country or landmass. In case of India, colonialism is one of the major factors responsible for its underdevelopment. Level of economic development. British rule based on reputation for use of fine quality raw materials. Before British rule, based on the reputation for use of fine quality raw materials, finished products, and the high standards of craftsmanship, India was well known for its handicraft industries in the field of cotton and silk, textile, metal, and precious stone works, etc. India also enjoyed a worldwide market seen through all imports from India during this period. During British rule, low level of economic development. According to British economist Angus Madison, India's share of the world economy declined from 24.4% to 14.2% between 1700 and 1913. The economic policies implemented by the colonial government in India, which were mainly concerned with the protection and promotion of the economic interest of their home country, then India. This was the main reason behind the downfall of Indian economy. The country's growth rate during the first half of the 12th century was less than 2%, and growth rate of per capita output was only 0.5%. Estimation of national income during colonial era. The colonial government never made a sincere attempt to estimate India's national income or per capita income. There were some individual attempts made to measure the national income by Dadabhai Nauroji, 1868, William Digby, 1899, Pinley Silras, 1911, 1922 and 1934, Shah and Kambata, 1921, V.K.R.V. Rao, 1925 to 29, R.C. Desai, 1931 to 49. These are the British economists estimated national income during the colonial period. National income estimates, IRAF estimates national income rupees in crore per capita. So Dada Rabbi Navroji estimated IRAF estimates 1868 national income that is 3 crore and per capita 4. FJ Atkinson 1875 574 national income and per capita 31. And Bering and Barbour 1882 525 national income and 27 per capita income. Lord Curzon 1897-98 national income 75 crores and per capita 30 rupees. William Digby estimated 1889 390 crores national income 17 per capita income. Pingley Silas 1911 estimated 1042 crores national income and per capita income 80. Vatla and Joshi estimated during the period 1913-14 that is the national income 1067 and 80 per capita income. A. Lipton estimated national income 1919-20 2954 national income in crores 144 per capita income. Shah and Kambata estimated national income during the period 1921-22 that is national income is 2364 and per capita income is 74. VKRV Rao 1931-32 estimated and 1689 national income is estimated 62% per capita income. The Natarajan 1938-39 national income estimated that is 1689 per capita income 62. Natarajan 1938-39 1482 national income and per capita income 67. Ministry of Commerce Government of India estimated and that is 1945-46 national income was 6,234 crores. Per capita increase 198. Drawback: all these estimates of national income were conducted out of individual effort and were subjected to some of its arbitrary assumptions. Agriculture sector. Agriculture has always been accorded an important position in Indian society. About 85% of the country's population lived in village having agriculture as their main occupation. There is endless evidence, including several British and European accounts, to show the flourishing state of our agriculture in the pre-British period. Impact on the agriculture of India. Britishers introduced a new class of landlords called zamindars who regarded land as their private property and aimed at obtaining maximum monetary gains out of it, making cultivators the actual tillers of the land, mere tenants. Farmers were forced to produce cash crop to feed the industries in England. It ruined the self-sufficiency of the village as much of the agricultural production were sent to market for sale. The new revenue system led to the peasant indebtedness, commercialization of agriculture. This ultimately resulted in mass poverty and problem of landlessness. Reasons for stagnation. Land settlement system, in Zamindari system, the profits occurring out of the agricultural sector went to the Zamindaris instead of the cultivators. Commercialization of agriculture, lack of irrigation facilities, low level of technology due to lack of knowledge, means and incentives for modernization. Commercialization of agriculture. Commercialization of agriculture became prominent around 1860 AD. This brought about a change from cultivation for home consumption to cultivation for the market. Many commercial crops like cotton, jute, tea, tobacco were introduced to meet the demand of factories running in Britain. Forced commercialization lead to shortage of food crops. Cash transactions became the basis of exchange and largely replaced the existent barter system. Industrial sector, India could not develop a sound industrial base under the colonial rule. Even the country's famous handicraft industries declined. Lack of capital good industry. The deindustrialization policy adopted by British served two purposes. Indian export volume was made dominant with raw materials directed to Britain effectively from a prominent exporter of manufactured handicraft items. India was reduced to a mere exporter of raw materials. This ensured that there was a low level of local supply to meet Indian demands for finished goods. Foreign trade, at the beginning of 19th century, the share of India in the world economy was around 20%, which was steadily increasing. By the time British left India, the share was reduced to around 4%. Thus, the colonial rule paralyzed the foreign trade also by large proportion. The colonization effect on foreign trade in the light of British era. The foreign trade of India with the rest of the world was cut off with the implementation of restrictive trade policies. As much as half of the foreign trade was restricted to Britain, India was reduced the supply of raw materials like jute, cotton, indigo, wool, sugar, etc. And importer of finished goods like silk and woolen clothes. Brain of Indian wealth. India's foreign trade generated huge export surplus, but this surplus came at a huge cost to the country's economy as it led to the drain of Indian wealth. The export surplus was used for making payments for the expenses incurred by an office set up by the colonial government in Britain. Expenses on war fought by the British government. Import of invisible items. State of foreign trade during the colonial rule. So this chart shows foreign trade during the colonial rule. British's monopoly of foreign trade. Number one, Britain maintained monopoly over India's export and import. Another one is, as a result, more than half of India's foreign trade was restricted to Britain. That is the British monopoly of foreign trade. And second one is net exporter of raw materials and exporter of final goods. That is opening of Suez Canal. In 1869, it avoided to sail around Africa, reduction in cost of transportation. Third one, drain of Indian wealth, huge export surplus due to huge export volume. Export surplus used to benefit Britishers. It is divided into two parts. To incur administrative exports, to import invisible items, and export surplus used to benefit Britishers in the form of to incur expenses to war fought by British government. Demographic profile. The demographic conditions during the British rule suggested all the features of a backward economy. Various details about the population was first collected through a census in 1881. Before 1921, India was in first stage of demographic transition. The second stage of transition started after 1921. Here, we observe that, however, neither the local population of India nor the rate of population growth at this stage was very high. The year 1921 is described as the year of Great Divide. It is uh, revealed that year of Great Divide. This is a slogan. Year of the 1921, year of Great Divide. It is a phenomenon. It is because after 1921, population grew continuously and rapidly. The demographic conditions were as under: the overall literacy level was less than 16%, female literacy was 7%, overall mortality rate was high, infant mortality rate was 218 per thousand, present rate is 44 per thousand. Extensive poverty, public health facilities were either unavailable to large chunks of population or were highly inadequate when available. Water and air, home disease were rampant. Occupational structure. Occupational structure means the distribution of working population across different sectors. Occupational structure of India during colonial period. One is the largest share of workforce, that is 70 to 75% was in agriculture sector. The manufacturing sector and service sector accounted for 10% and 15 to 20% respectively. Regional disparities was also an important feature. There was a decline in the independence of workforce on agriculture sector in parts of then Madras Presidency, present day Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala and Karnataka. Maharashtra and West Bengal, coupled with increase in manufacturing and service sector. There was increase in share of workforce in states such as Orissa, Rajasthan and Punjab. Occupation structure during colonial period: agriculture 70 to 75%, manufacturing 10%, service 15 to 20%. So in Indian economy, agriculture is the dominant sector in our Indian economy. It produces 70 to 75% to national income. Manufacturing only 10%. Services in India 15 to 20%. Infrastructure: roadways, construction, building. What is infrastructure? Infrastructure can be referred to the basic supporting structure of a nation such as communication, transportation, water, sewage, etc. This operation can be highly expensive investments and an important aspect of the economic development of a country. During colonial period in India, the basic infrastructure, water transport, railways, post and telegraph and ports were developed. But the motive behind this development was simply to foster the colonial interest of the British government. They were never interested in the growth of the Indian economy. Reasons for development of infrastructure: first one is railways. Railways were developed to move finished goods physically from Britain to different interior parts of colonial India. Britishers wanted to widen the size of the market for their own goods. And next one, roads. Roads were developed for mobilization or mobilizing British army within India. Transportation, to facilitate transportation of raw material from different parts of the country to the nearest railway station or to the port to send it to Britain. And next one, communication. Ports. Next one, ports. Ports were developed to export raw material and import finished goods from Britain. And other one is communication. Post and telegraphs were developed for the purpose of maintaining law and order. The expensive system of the electric telegraph in India was developed to enhance administrative efficiency. Thank you. This is the video lesson for the purpose of development of students to understand well and read well and pick out some main points from this video. All the best, friends. Thank you, Manandal.